Welcome to Echoes Down the Road, a podcast presented by the band West of House. My name is Erick, and we thank you for joining us for Episode 5, Chasing After Memories. Lance, Tommy, and Kevin will be joining me as we talk about this intimate song that weaves through the tapestry of a decades-long relationship. It's all about the love today. Welcome back. Welcome to Episode 5 of Echoes Down the Road, the official West of House podcast. Sponsored, presented, produced, and given to you by your West of House band members. My name is Erick.
And I'm Lance.
This is Tommy.
I am Kevin.
Oh my gosh, Kevin came back.
Wow.
Kevin.
I had my
What are you
doubts
doing here?
in Episode 4.
I didn't know if he was even there in episode 4.
You were non-committal.
I don't know what
Or
that
maybe
means.
just mysterious. You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma and presented on a plate of conundrums.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Erick,
Yeah.
what you drinking over there, my friend?
Well, you're a little ahead of me, but there we go.
Oh.
Today, I am drinking, well, you guys can see this on Skype, not the listeners.
Looks like a warhead.
This is a Warheads beer
That is.
by Artisanal Brew Works, Extreme Sour Blue Raspberry. And doggone it, it tastes like a Warhead.
That sounds
and if-
amazing.
It is. You've had one. Didn't I give you one,
You
Lance?
gave me some like wet watermelon sour or something. It was awesome.
It's so good. I loved Warheads when I was a kid and an adult. I guess just as an adult because they didn't have them when I was a kid.
That's true.
But
We haven't
they're
grown up, though.
fantastic. You guys can't see it, but the color of this, I guess I'll call it a beer. It's barely a beer, but it's like nuclear blue.
Wait, did you put
It
it
is
in a
like-
glass?
No, I'm looking in the can.
Oh, okay.
I could put it in a glass, but I think it'd just stain it. This is like someone threw a bunch of Smurfs in a barrel and did a French press on them, and this is what came out.
Wow.
Smurf beer.
It's
huh?
Smurf beer, but my God, it's good. So
That's
if
a
you can
good one.
find this, these guys, let me look on the can here. Where are they from? New York, Saratoga Springs,
New York.
This stuff's made in New York.
New York City.
You know what? Hey, but we talked about Six Point. They're in Brooklyn in episode
Yes.
2.
We are
So
big
great
fans of
things.
6 Point.
Great things coming out of New York. And
Definitely.
it's good stuff.
Well, I've got an oldie and a goodie here. Good old Elias and Space Dust. Can never go wrong there.
You could also call it Elysian.
Yeah, I like to call Elias and
You know what? We're not editing that out.
You better
we're leaving it in.
Hey, we all come from different areas in the country.
That's right.
This is
You
from
and Eric come from
You
California.
literally live 2 blocks away from me.
No, they're from Seattle. This is
Words
Kevin's
don't
land.
change just because you go north.
Have you been to Canada?
He's like,
Things change
we all
drastically.
come from different places, but they're from Seattle. It doesn't matter where they're from because you said it wrong.
Hey, Canada says everything wrong. I don't yell at them.
Hey, but I don't even know how the Canadians got brought into it when you're talking about Seattle, which
They're just
is an
further
American
north.
city, by the way.
Yeah, they're a lot
That's
closer
right.
to Canada than I am.
But I will give
That's
you
a
Space
fact.
Dust. Space Dust is a great beer. It's good.
Thank you.
It's
Thanks
a
for bringing
macro
that
brew.
around.
It's distributed by one of the macro breweries, but it's still good.
Fantastic.
I will give you that.
8.2 of heavenness.
8.2?
Heck yeah, my friend.
That's not bad. So this should be a good episode.
Kevin, you often drink something.
Indeed. I am drinking Rainier beer, the Pacific Northwest of beers.
Wow.
Oh, so
They com-
you are even closer to Seattle than Lance is. How would you pronounce
true.
that hard word, Kevin?
Elis.
Okay, it's a lesion. Come on.
Well done.
I
See, I
can't-
don't
now
judge you,
you're
Kevin.
you're pandering to Lance.
I can't even
don't
replicate how
judge
you
you.
said it. I was
You're
gonna-
not helping him. You're hurting him.
Elias.
Elias.
Where do you even come up with that? Like 3 more vowels, and now you're saying it.
It's like an artichoke in space, right?
It's a beer hops.
I know. It's a cute
Oh,
little artichoke.
No, he does
but-
look. Yeah, he looks like an artichoke in space.
Yeah,
That's probably a good
Off
name
to-
for our next album.
Artichoke
There
in
you go.
space.
Off topic for 500, Alex.
it's like throwing up space particles
All right, and as usual, Tommy is drinking hot tea
from the highway.
because it's
It's cold tea.
it settles his
It's
tummy.
cold. No. good
Otherwise, it
stuff.
gets upset. Because Tommy is 72 years old, listeners. You probably didn't know this, but it is true. Tommy is 81 years old.
Yeah,
Parts of me are probably that old.
suffers from GI, I believe.
He's the $6 man. Not to be confused with the $6 million man.
For $6, I can probably give you change.
You were put together with parts from a thrift store and a slaughterhouse.
This is true.
Wow, that's not like a goat.
Was that a goat?
That was a good goat.
That's what I heard. Or a sheep.
So this is the perfect segue into the beautiful song we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking about Chasing After Memories.
Isn't this a ballad?
Oh my!
God.
The
Shut up,
worst,
Tommy.
worst dad joke ever. And there it is, the token line that's in every episode. Shut up,
Just
Tommy.
shut up, Tommy. I mean, really, we should probably just stop now because I don't think we can sink much lower, but we're going to damn well try.
We're giving the people what they paid for.
So if you're just joining us and this is your first episode, you've probably already turned it off. If you haven't, we are West of House, well, 4/5 of us, and we're going through our album, Crescendo of Silence, song by song. And today, it's episode 5, but we're on the 4th song. The first episode was us talking about the band and how we came together and the real meaning of smarch. But today, that was a Simpsons reference. You guys I get nothing from you.
I
I
got
get
it.
no
Lousy
playback.
smarch
No,
weather.
I was just
Lousy
Listen.
smarch. Thank you, Kevin. Lousy smarch weather.
I was
Oh,
still
was that a joke?
thinking about the Smurfs.
I think the joke is actually learning the real meaning of winter.
Do not touch Willie.
But I threw in a smarch.
Don't touch Willie.
You guys are ridiculous. Okay, so
Ree.
we're going through all the songs. We're on Chasing After Memories. This is track 4 off Crescendo of Silence, and we're going to give you an opportunity right now to push play on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal or iHeartRadio or however you listen to digital music. Go ahead and give Chasing After Memories a listen, and we'll be back right after this. All right, so there you have it. I imagine you have tears in your eyes. Wonderful, wonderful tears after hearing this ode to beauty.
Mm. It was beautiful. Our first slow song on the album.
So the demo for this one, as you know, all songs start out with a different name. And this one started out as Slow Dance. I had some programmed drums, and all I had was a guitar with a ton of tremolo on it, and just that simple backbeat to keep time.
Speaking of programmed drums, I'm going to take those away from you, I think.
No, the programmed drums are critical to our success. And one day, I mean, maybe soon, you'll be dead of old age, and we'll need a drummer. And he exists within my Ableton.
That kind of worries me because he's there now. So if I start sucking,
It's all part of getting rid of you. But so this demo is called Slow Dance, and let's play a little bit of it right now. All right, so there you go. And you hear that tremolo in it, which guitarist, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to try to mimic that sound like the sounds I tried to in the last episode. So that tremolo sound, it's kind of that going in and out, that back and forth with that guitar. And the guitar kind of had that lilt to it, that it felt like a slow dance to me. You know, it's not in 3/4, which is really that perfect dancing time signature, but just that ebb and flow. And with the trim, it draws you in into this feel of a dance. And really, those guitars in the demo, that's the final version. I wrote this song very quickly, the music for it. And I think maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, came together very fast. And I didn't change them. In the final, I lessened the tremolo just a little bit. But otherwise, those are the final guitars. And after that, I sent it to Mr. Lance. What'd you do on this one?
Yeah, what's always impressive to hear is the final one is the one you sent so early on. I always assumed when you'd send those little sampler tracks that you would go back and clean it up or something. But it's funny how you play a good solid little line, and I get used to it, and I'm assuming you're okay with the quality, and it's fun that you do that and you keep the originals. But this is another song where this isn't a bass song, right? So I'm not going to try to create anything crazy. I need to find something that fits, and it has to complement. And I don't know if I'm spoiling the surprise here, but we added cello on this song, which I'm sure we'll get to later. But I don't know, personally for me, it's like one of my favorite sounds on planet Earth. And so I think this is the second song, correct me if I'm wrong, that we included this. We did Voyeuristic before, where we brought in a cello line. And
that is correct.
Same guy as well?
Same guy, Steven Schumann. Hell of a
Unless
player.
it's a lady. Yeah, no, he's solid. And so on this song, it was funny. I felt like he, in our first song, when we used him in Voyeuristic, he was trying to just fit in with us. Maybe he was just kind of bashful and wanted to compliment the song, and we'll get to that later. But this song, I felt like he really, like it was like a bandmate almost. Like he had a nice line, and it was unique, and it complemented the song beautifully. He created his own sound. And for me, I didn't have to do too much. I just wanted to kind of play along with what we were doing and not stand out. But it's one of those sounds where if it's not there, you notice it. But I wanted to try to be in the ether, as you like to say, Eric, and just kind of support the whole project of what this song was trying to do. And the cello, to me, is one of the standout lines that kind of just really plays well with what I'm doing.
I have to say, Lance, that your bass line on this was amazing.
Wow.
It's really good. I love the melodic, and I think we talked about this before in other episodes, your melodic bass playing, which is one of my favorite things to hear as a drummer, is a melodic bass player, personally. But your bass line on this is just so nice, and I feel like when the song starts, I'm writing on the bass line while I'm listening to the vocal. It's very nice.
Well, thank you. You probably can't see I'm blushing here from Utah, but why do you say that as a drummer? When you first, I don't know if we've already talked about this in previous episodes, but you had texted early on in our project about my melodic playing, and I didn't know if to take that as an insult or not at the time. Obviously, I know how you really feel. But why, as a drummer, do you say that as a melodic bass line? What does that do for a drummer?
I don't know about other guys, but for me, so my brother plays exactly the same way. He plays real melodic. And so I'm used to hearing that. And I guess from a drummer's perspective, there's two ways of playing bass. There's just playing the bottom end, kind of like a groove, and my bass drum's going to follow your part or whatever you're doing. Or there's the other way where you play more of a melodic piece, and that gives actually me more space if I want to take it, rather than having to lock into something you're doing.
Makes sense.
But I just really like that, and just the way the song starts, the words, slow dance with me. Then there's that bass line that kind of slides in there and then takes you on the ride. Awesome.
Well, thank you, Tommy.
It's interesting, that you brought up the cello. Voyeuristic was one of those songs where we'd already kind of put down tracks, and in thinking what was going on, the idea came, hey, maybe we'll put some strings here. And the idea for cello came to mind. With Chasing After Memories, cello was always part of the equation. Even on the demo, there's a part where I left space for an actual cello solo, which Steven just absolutely nails. And we'll talk more about the cello a little later. But yeah, it was always there. And one of the few things that I don't think I'm used to coming up with ideas that soon in advance for additional instruments. Usually I'm thinking of us, just the guys in the band. But, this needed cello. And it's for a very specific reason that we will get to a little later. But kind of to springboard what Tommy said, yeah, Lance, your bass playing, you downplay it, which is wrong and horrible and evil, because it's a beautiful line. Again, your mastery of melody, to be alliterative, is wonderful, and your line dances within this song, just like the lyrics do, just like the tremolo on the guitar does, just like the cello does. This song is a dance in song form.
Literally,
I think
Slow
you
Dance
can hear
was
that.
its original name.
Yeah, and it was one of the few where the working title had so much to do with the song. I mean, like the last song we talked about in the last episode, you've got Groove Horse, and yeah, it had a little bit of groove, but that slow dance was integral to that song. So after bass, you were up, Tommy. Tell us what you did there, sir.
I am up. Okay, so this song did not have lyrics when I recorded it. And I'm kind of quirky about that because I build my drum parts around not only the music, but also the lyrics. And I'll bring that up in future episodes, especially Voyeuristic Symphony. But this song didn't have lyrics. So I'm going off of the chord changes in my head, not in my head, that are really there as I'm making parts in my head. So this song ended up, from a drum part, in my opinion, more like a Broadway song or something you would hear in a musical, because there's a cymbal crash almost on every chord change, especially in the choruses, which is not something I would normally do, but that's what I heard and that's what I had to work with at the time. So it's kind of more like a, like a Broadway drum part, in my opinion, because that actually happens a lot in show tune music. Is there's lots of cymbal crashes and just on the downbeats and simple playing, which is kind of what I did on this. It's pretty simple. I didn't get too crazy, but I will say, during the cello solo, the part I'm playing was inspired by Cinderella, Nobody's Fool.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a song. I am learning this for the first time, and that is actually really cool.
So yeah, in that part it has, and I've always liked that song, it's got the kick drum on the E of 4 right after the snare drum, and if you listen to the song Chasing After Memories, which I'm sure you have, during that part, there's the bass drum comes in right after the snare drum on the E of 4, which I took from that part in Cinderella's Nobody's Fool.
Well, I gotta say, like you again, I don't know if it's the downplaying of how we all do this, but yeah, it's a simpler song, but it has to be so delicate from a drummer's perspective, and you beautifully support all the little changes, and you hit those cymbals or crash or whatever on like the end of each little phrase, and it just supports the whole song so well. And it keeps it going and kind of drives it through, even though we're doing some different feels and there's more dynamics in this song than maybe others. And your drums are always just consistent and smooth and supports everything that's going on, no matter if it's cello or keys or whatever that's going on. So well done, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. And of course, this has got, since it's a ballad, it has like rock and roll ballad 2-beat fill number 1 in it. It's like nothing fancy, just fills that work, and everybody's heard them a million times, and so it just is what the song took. And also, I have to say, in Erick's programming, there's that little part in the cello solo also with the snare drum that has a little rough on the E of 4 going down into the downbeat. That was actually in Erick's demo program in the intro. And I liked what that was. I just didn't like it there. So I took it and I moved it to a different part. So that whole cello solo is inspired by Cinderella and Erick Bieger programming.
See, never
There you have
mock
it.
my program drums again. I spend seconds going over those. 1, 2, sometimes 3 seconds coming up with those backbeats, so I stay in time.
Right. Well, I did take some of your inspiration from the programming that you did for Echoes Down the Road.
Oh, cool.
Which we'll get to in that part too. So yeah, so I kind of take inspiration from different things, and actually I could probably name something in every song, and I guess I've been doing that so far, that where I've been inspired by another song. And so Cinderella, Nobody's Fool, inspired the part during the cello solo.
Those are really cool tidbits of information. I think this is one where you really nailed not playing the drums, but playing the song. And for ballads, that's especially tough. Because,
Right.
I mean, as talented as you are, I know the call of the wild to throw in some amazing lick, you know, is strong, but you played the song in this perfectly. You could not have done a better job.
Well, thank you. You know, a good friend of mine, Bermuda Schwartz, he's the drummer for Weird Al. That's kind of his thing that he tells people is play the song, not the drums. And so when I first heard him say that, I'm like, wow, that is really heavy. So whenever I play too much, which happens a lot, I kind of harken back to that and I think, okay, I need to play the song and not the drums. Because that's one thing I'm not a young musician anymore, but when I was, you know, you want to put every lick in every song. And I don't know if that's the case with bass players and guitar players, but as you get older and seasoned, then you know, okay, I don't need to play everything in every song. And sometimes you just need to play less. Because I hate that phrase, less is more, because less is never more. But
It's still less.
sometimes it is. Less is always less, but, you know,
But you're right.
sometimes it just works out better that way.
Yeah,
So
it's got to fit.
that was this song. And other than not having lyrics, which for me is a little difficult to actually create a consistent and cohesive drum part, it turned out fantastically. And it's funny because you talk about, Lance, that the way I backed up the cello solo, well, that obviously wasn't there when I recorded it. That came in later. So it's good to know that maybe the cello guy played around what I had and maybe he's the reason it sounds so good and not me.
You know, I think it's just a perfect combination of musicians being respectful, you know, of putting the song first rather than your own part. And, you know, kind of what you said, I mean, we're seasoned musicians. I won't use the term old, but we are seasoned musicians. We've been through this. You know, when you're coming up, yeah, in my 20s, playing clubs on the Sunset Strip, I wanted to play all the notes. Every single one, twice, sometimes 3 times. And now as you get older and you become more of a craftsman in songs, you just realize that maybe that those 1 or 2 things say so much more than a slew of Yngwie 64th notes.
It's kind of like Kevin, and not what you say, but what you don't say. Kevin, why don't you say something?
Wait, hold on. Kevin's on this podcast? Huh.
He was.
I
Did we lose him?
don't know.
Hey,
There he is.
I think it's actually time for Kevin to talk about his part.
Yeah.
We've beat the drum part into the ground.
Yeah,
so to speak.
let's move on. The final piece of this. Well, there's the cello, which was the cello there when you played, Tommy? It wasn't.
No.
Okay.
No.
And Kevin, was the cello there when you played?
Was not.
So then let's move on to Kevin. And I have plenty to say about Kevin, but the only guy that speaks more than me is probably Kevin. and we're going to let him do that right now. So Kevin, tell us about your parts on this song.
Sure, man. Yeah. I took the approach of keeping the cellist in mind, of course. I wanted to kind of take a back seat, if you will, melodically, and just have him take the lead along with the bass and the drums, of course. A lot of what I play is following not only Erick's lyrics, but Lance's bass. And of course the electronic drums kind of helps me keep time. That's about it. But having the nuances that Tommy brings really helps give the accents to my playing as well. So I think, I don't know, I thought for this track I didn't want to overplay, as always, and just keep the cellist in the foreground and be more of an ambient sound or color, if you will.
That's Kevin, ladies and gentlemen.
Deep waters.
Few words, but so much meaning. There is nothing shallow about that man. And so I'm going to brag about you, Kevin, and people won't be able to see you turn red. But you're playing, not only do you play guitar on this track, which you'll hear, it's very ambient, it's very colorful. And I mean, really, like we've said in other episodes, Kevin has this ability to play 1, 2, 4, 5 notes and take a song from good to great. And he not only does that here with his guitar, but also with his keys. And we're going to play those we're playing them right now while I'm talking. The minimalism is such an important part of music, and you hear this in the key section. Sometimes only one note is needed over a beat, or 2, or 3. He's not busy. He's creating this soundscape that lays in the song so perfectly that, again, it adds to the dance feel. It adds to that lilt, to the ebb and flow, to the steps that you need to turn this from something that you're just doing from memory to this beautiful created piece of art. And your keys, Kevin, I mean, they're amazing. So if you don't know, Kevin and I do the keys and the synth for the band. When they sound really good, that's Kevin. When they're filling up space and I'm playing chords, that's me. But Kevin does not get enough credit for how good he is. And I don't know if you remember, but when you did the keys section to this, you left a little extra on the end of your keys track.
That's right.
And we're going to play that right now. Okay, so that's what he did in his noodling, and that is calling upon my vast knowledge of classical music. Not that you told me during the break. That's Chopin, is it not?
It is. That's correct.
And just
And
to be clear, it's not Chopin. You know,
It's not
wanna
chopping,
make sure-
as Lance would call it.
You can say
even
Chopin.
I know
The
that it's
Chop and drank
Chopin.
Elysian beer.
Yep. I just want to make sure that's clear.
But so this is what he does. He sends me this track of minimalistic piano, just beautiful in its almost nothingness, and then launches into Chopin after the song when no one except for me is listening. But of course, we save everything. So that is in the archives, and now people know how good you are. No, you cannot get paid more.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I know it's tough. Whatever 20% of nothing is, that's exactly what we'll give you.
Exactly.
And so now we've got this bass, and we go back to the cello. You know, like we talked about earlier, Stephen Schumann, he's our go-to cellist. He played on Voyeuristic Symphony, and he nails this one. Again, taking a song from good to great. It's all these added things that you put into these songs that in your head, or at least in my head, I heard the cello there the entire time. And when I got it back from him, I'm not the crying sort. That's Lance. He weeps daily.
Yep.
But when I got this back, I almost got a little misty because it was beautiful.
That's probably exactly what you were hoping for too. And like what's in your head for somebody else to match that. Pretty impressive. Like I said, he really fit this song as opposed to the first time. I think he just kind of filled in, but he really just took it and went with it. And damn, is it tasty.
Oh yeah. As an artist, when you don't have the ability to do certain things and play cello, that's an ability I do not have, but I can hear it. I hear it in my head. And I don't tell him what notes to play. I give him a feel, and I let him play to his expertise, as all the guys in the band do. I don't play drums. I let Tommy play to his expertise. I play very minimal bass. It's not good, but I let Lance do that. And I let Kevin and Dave do that because they're the experts. It may be in my skull somewhere, and I can kind of direct certain things, but I want their natural talent to come out because that's what makes a song great. The mark of a great songwriter is knowing that you're not great at everything and then allowing others to be great for you.
And I would
that's
imagine,
definitely,
Eric, to be open to the things that you can't hear that come along with working with other humans. I mean, like you said, you've got to let us do our thing, and you've been pretty awesome about that most of the time, except every now and then with Tommy, of course.
well, it's Tommy, It's Tommy. But yeah, Steven needed very little coaching and just laid down the perfect track. His solo is amazing. And musically, the song, it was a piece of cake. This song came together so quickly, especially, in the middle of the debacle that was Denmark, which was taking us weeks. I want to say, week and a half, 2, the music was all done for this?
Yeah, that seems even long.
I think I did my part in 2 takes, actually.
Yeah, a couple days for me.
Yeah, a day probably for me.
And that's when it gets good. Okay, so let's move on to vocals and lyrics. And to do that, we're going to go back. We're going to go back a long time to about 1998. I was the singer and guitarist in a band called God Complex. I had not been graced with the glorious presence of Tommy yet. Tommy joined in, what year was it? 2000?
99, 2000, somewhere in there.
99. So, but you definitely remember this. I had written a song for my fiance, and it was called Two Hearts. And, well, what the heck? We're going to play a little bit of that right now.
5 minutes till curtain was sold out, and the characters are in place. Two hearts, a savior and a song. I sang to you, little poet, with the Leonard Cohen eyes, unexpecting, unrequited, undone.
So that was a song that me, as a 20-something, wrote for my fiance. It's young, it's got heart, it's exciting, it's about young love, and, the future at that point is just a canvas of possibilities. So fast forward, I end up marrying this beautiful girl, and I wanted to do something special again. So Chasing After Memories is a 20th wedding anniversary gift to my bride. I know I probably don't sound that old. Tommy does. I don't. But, this was the gift I wanted to give her. And I think as you look at the song as a whole, you definitely see that it's from the perspective of someone that's been in an extremely long-term relationship here, 20 years of marriage. Even the timbre of my voice from Two Hearts, where I sound extremely young. I always sound a little younger singing than I sound talking. but I sound very young in two hearts, and there's just a fascinating difference. And it sends a different message also that I in no way could have conveyed 20 years ago. So with this one, I started actually with the bridge. And I had some lyrics, and they just weren't working. So I did what any normal songwriter would do. I said, well, I'll sing it in French.
Wait. You don't know French.
Yeah, that is very astute of you, Tommy. I do not know any French. And all I had was Google Translate, which I don't trust all that much. So I had the English words I wanted to say, but they just didn't have that je ne sais quoi, so to speak. See what I did there? You see?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, now you can suddenly parlez-vous français.
Yeah, well, a little bit maybe. I've just learned from, probably movies over the years. So they didn't have that. And there's something about French. I speak Spanish. I do not speak French at all. But there's something very beautiful about the language that just kind of draws you in, especially when it's sung. And so I sent out feelers. I think I put a post on Facebook. I said, hey, if you speak French, send me a message because I need your help. And
But send it in English.
Yeah, send it in English too. And I got 4 different responses. And I got 4 different translations. And they were different, even though I asked for the same thing. So then, I did some studying as well, and I ended up going with this one woman who's a French teacher. And it just turned out perfectly. And I will butcher it probably, but it's that nous avons fait 20 ans, savons 20 de plus. Je suis à toi et tu es à moi. And to sing, it was so much fun. And that's the first thing I laid down on the song. I had no English lyrics at this time.
Interesting.
And I remember I said, please put it, I'm going to butcher the translation, so please do a wave of it and send it to me so I can kind of say it, closely. But, that's, at the time, that's all I had.
Eric, did you know that was going to be the bridge when you said you started with that section, or did it just become the bridge?
No, at that part, it was always the bridge.
Okay.
And it just had that feel for it. I didn't want to start off with French. Like originally writing the song, I toyed with the idea of bringing in a female vocalist to do that part. But because I was writing the song for my wife, that just wasn't the way to go.
It'd be a little awkward.
Yeah, if I were going a different way, maybe, but it would have sounded much prettier than I can sing. I tried to sing it with as much grace and dignity as I could because it was such a sweet line. And the line, translated, it says, we've got 20 down, let's do 20 more. I am yours and you are mine. That no one has any business singing that except for me. And that's why I sang it, even though my French is suspect. But you have some French teachers in your life, do you not, Lance?
Yeah, and I wanted to go back to what you were saying. Like my sister-in-law, she speaks pretty good French. I mean, she's been to France a few times and studied it. And one thing I do know about French from her is there's similar to English, but it's so much more complex in French where certain words or phrases can mean almost anything, even though they're literally the same word. And it's generally due to context. Like you were saying earlier, the context of you got these different translations and you got to find which one fits right. And so anyways, when this song, we finished it and you had the lyrics and you shared it with us or whatever, or maybe we just finished the song. I can't remember, but I shared it with a French teacher that I've worked with for almost 8 years at a couple different schools. And I just threw it to him. I said, hey, listen to this. My buddy's never spoke a word of French in his life. Tell me how he did. And at the time, I didn't actually look at the lyrics, so I didn't know what the heck they meant. So he got back to me, I don't know, later that night. He was grading papers or something. And his initial text was, it's pretty decent. I understood him, but the second half of the first sentence was a little tough to make out. And as a teacher, he's so critical. He's like, I give him a B. And I thought, hey, that's pretty good. It's a 3.0. That's passing.
I'll take a B. That'll get you into college. It's
Yeah.
okay.
So he was, pretty complimentary. And then a few minutes later, without prompting, because he loves music, and he ended up listening to the song like repeatedly. And so, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes later, he wrote like all caps. He's like, we've put in 20 years. Let's do another 20 ? So then I looked at the lyrics finally at that point, and it's pretty darn close. We've got 20 down, and his contextual definition from what you said was we've put in 20 years. So again, I think that's a French thing, right? Like you give this lady your English,
Right.
she's going to spit something back, and I would say you give it to 5 different people, they're going to say slightly different things. And then he said, let's do another 20 ? And he was asking me like I know anything about French. And your line is, let's do 20 more. So again, the context is there. It's just not exactly a perfect translation, but I think that's just French. So then he said it took him 6, 7 tries. And so I said, okay, 6, 7 tries. That means what? Now it's a B-? Like what's going on here? And he's like, no, I give a B+ or an A. He really loved it. And I don't even know what the word is, Eric, the R in savant.
Servant.
What is that word in that line anyways?
I believe it means like to serve, that do another 20 years. And if you speak French, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't mean to serve, but the idea of that, how I think of it is, that kind of works in marriage, doesn't it?
Totally.
Now, what we do as spouses, we're here to serve, not to rule over, God, no, or just to kill time. We're here to serve our spouses. And I actually love that word, even if it doesn't mean what I think it means. Just the beautiful idea of servant.
I think it does mean what you think, though, because
I hope so. It sounds like it, right?
Yeah, because his name's Will Fritz, by the way. And hopefully you're listening to this at some point, Will. But
hey, Will, thanks for the A-.
he said, I started calculating the possibilities because that R threw him off on savant. And he's like, I realized it was romantic because he's very intuitive and picks up on that stuff. So he's like, I went contextual, and then bam, I figured it out. And so I thought he guessed pretty darn well on what you were hoping to say. And he's been teaching French a very long time. So I don't think I'll ever fully understand it, but he nailed it. And I think you should be very pleased with the grades he gave you.
I am very happy. Whenever you attempt to sing in a language that is not your native tongue, it's extremely frightening, especially with something as nuanced and detailed and beautiful as French. But that it really made me happy to hear that. And I remember when my wife heard it too. Her first thought was like, "You're singing in French." I'm like, "Yeah." You translate it too. So from there, I could not sing the whole song in French. I got away with my bridge. And so I went to English, and I really doubled down on that theme of slow dance and how that's a beautiful metaphor for a relationship. Anyone in a long-term relationship knows that it's a slow dance. And there's parts that are exciting, and there's parts where you're just getting through it, and there's parts where you're going to step on each other's toes. But that whole first line that it was so great when Tommy sang it, but I won't let him do it again. A slow dance with me, your body pulled in tight, breath to breath and eye to eye, and I can't believe that you're still mine. That just kind of set up the lyrics to this. And these were written fast as well. Apart from the bridge, the rest of the song, 15 minutes. And that's not anything on me. That just means it was a testament for me to write about my relationship with my wife, and it came out easy. Because after 20 years, I know exactly how I feel about her. And that idea of the chorus I love, just, I'll give you an anthem so free with possibility. All we can do is sing until the stars fall from the sky. Now, there's a little nod to Ryan Adams, to the song of When the Stars Go Blue. But in his song, those are stars dying, obviously, when they go blue. But we're singing until the stars fall from the sky. That's an eternal thing. That idea that, going back to the French, the I am yours and you are mine. Another line, stolen from the Bible. The Bible has the greatest lines for songs. Song of Solomon, is that it? Ecclesiastes? No, it's not
Yep.
Ecclesiastes.
Well,
Song of Solomon, right? I'm yours and you are mine.
He wrote both, but yeah.
Yeah. So, stealing from that, I'm just going to keep reading that. Tighten your hand and mine will spin and spin around like two kids chasing after memories that haven't happened yet. There's just something about that idea of, I love juxtaposition in my songs. I love kind of dichotomies and the idea of chasing after memory that you haven't had yet. I just want to kind of put that in the listener's mind. I mean, what does that mean? What does that look like? What the hell is he saying?
It's lovely, though.
No, thanks, Lance. I appreciate it.
Well, I think Solomon wrote that. But
no,
I'm glad you stole it.
I wrote that one. I wrote Chasing After Memories. Don't give Solomon all my good lyrics, man.
Yeah, he
gets I'm yours and you are mine. He can have that one, but Chasing After Memories is all me, baby.
No, I love that. It's a great. I mean, and you do this a lot with your lyrics, where they speak to people differently, right? Where it has multiple meanings, and that's the dichotomy you're kind of talking about, and it's very cool. It's very cool. It gives depth.
What did it mean to you, Lance? What did it mean to you?
The phrase to me is more like memories of old dreams, right? So they might not be an actual memory of something that happened, but it's maybe something you thought of when you were younger and your hopes and dreams, and you're kind of always chasing after that. And that can be a sad thing, but it's also can be a motivating thing to kind of go after something that you're passionate about and not giving up after that, and just keep pursuing it, but that's kind of how it hit me. But I then, when you gave me the context of 20 years of marriage, clearly it's kind of enjoying those memories, reliving them, not forgetting them, which is also a beautiful way of kind of reflecting. So that's why I think for me, it definitely thinks more of, I'm going to chase after memories of things that I've always wanted to do, kind of regrets maybe. So I'm going to keep trying to pursue those dreams.
Well, and that's good. And I mean, when I wrote a song, I mean, granted, I have my truth. But far be it for me to put my truth on the listener and say, you have to have this as well. That's one of the great things about art is, yeah, I write with my state of mind and what I mean, but I tend not to go into those meanings too much. We do on the podcast just because that's kind of a little special time. But I want people to take that and, find your truth in these lyrics. If it means something different to you, great. That's exactly what I want for you. I want you to be able to hear something and have it strike you in a different way. I know, Tommy, we've kind of talked about this a little, and that, you'll put up lyrics on Facebook or something, and it'll strike you in a different way.
That's right. Actually, in this song, what I like about it, and we've talked about this in yesterday's, is the cadence of the song and the rhythm. And so a couple of, well, there's you mentioned, I think you've said all these anyway, but at the I can't believe, or the breath to breath and I to I and I like that kind of turning around where you kind of have to like, whoa, what was that? You kind of have to stop and think about what you just heard. So that kind of thing, playing on the words, the rhythm, the cadence. You also mentioned like two kids chasing after memories, and then how you sing it, I love that. It's like, that haven't happened yet. And you just kind of let that hang out there like that. And I just kind of like that. It's like, haven't happened yet. And that's just a real positive thing. And then the final thing that I really like is the end, where you have the double chorus, but you don't repeat the chorus. And you have, I'll give you an anthem, so free possibilities, and all we can do is sing until the stars fall, which would normally be followed by from the sky, but until the stars fall. And then you start another chorus with different words we haven't heard yet, and we'll dance beyond imagination. The same two hearts, but a better song. So there's a play on your old song, Two Hearts, that I'll sing, and then until the stars fall from the sky. So you have like a double chorus, but the second part of that chorus we haven't heard yet. and then you finish it off with the very last line that we have heard. So you're putting a little bow on the package, and it's fantastic.
Thank you, Tommy. I mean, yeah, you kind of nailed it, especially the second chorus. We have the throwback, of course, to Two Hearts. And there's the high harmony on there too, which is a throwback to the last chorus of Two Hearts that we played earlier. We haven't played the last chorus. Hell, I'll play it right now. Listen to this.
I believe in me, I believe in love, and I believe that we're free, and that faith is the evidence of things unseen. I believe in hope, and I believe that dreams come true for me, for you. I believe in us. I believe in us. I believe in us. In Two Hearts.
Okay, so you hear in that chorus, that's got the high harmony on it. And I wanted to call back to that in the harmony that I do on Chasing After Memories. So everything kind of calls back to that song. In Two Hearts, there's this really long ebow solo in the middle. And you know what? We're older, we're more sophisticated. I didn't have to play an ebow. We got a cello, which is much better than an ebow. And that works here. So yeah, you kind of see how this song how Two Hearts points to Chasing After Memories. How it's the obvious extension. Now, what am I going to do for 40 years? I don't know. Hopefully, I'm still making music. I better damn well be. You know, Tommy will be with the Lord, but Kevin and Lance, they'll be here. So we'll still be doing something.
Yeah. In 20 years, Kevin and Lance will be almost as old as we are now.
Wow.
Now that's interesting, Kevin. Expand on that thought.
Yes. I mean, I've always wanted to say, I just want to thank you for letting us all be a part of, your story, and letting you paint that picture so eloquently, and letting us frame your painting.
See, this is why I like Kevin better than you guys. Now, thank you, Kevin. It's very sweet. It's the listeners probably don't know, but I mean, the guys that you're hearing, these are guys that I've been friends with for, Lance and I have known each other since high school, and Tommy a little bit after that, and Kevin a little bit after that. But we've got years and years of relationship, between especially the four of us.
Chapters of history.
And I think you can hear that in West of House songs. You can hear the trust, you can hear the respect, and the ability to create with these guys, my best friends, is amazing. And then for them to join me, and especially on a song as personal as this for me, for my bride, it's a wonderful gift. And they not only did it justice, they made it better than I could ever have imagined. And let's take that thought and let's play the song. So here you go. Here is Chasing After Memories.
Dance with me, your body.
So there you have it. That was Chasing After Memories. We thank you for joining us on this beautiful journey of this beautiful song. It's very special to us and especially to me. And we appreciate it. So next episode, we're going to crank it up a bit. Whoop, whoop. And we will be tackling Moving Shadows. And
Oh, what a great song.
yes, such a great song. The oldest West of House song written in 2015 in one day. And there may even be a demo out there. Who knows? But Dave will be joining us for that one.
That's right.
And that will be fun. Who knows? Will Kevin come back? We don't know.
Even if he does, we might not know.
I don't know.
He might have been on the last ones. We just don't know it.
It's true.
You didn't hear him in the back?
Never
It's
know.
like, where's Waldo?
So we'll be tackling Moving Shadows. Great song, great video. We'll be talking about all of that. In the meantime, check us out. You can stream our music on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, iHeartRadio, Pandora, anywhere you listen to music. Please give us a listen. If you want to support us, you can buy the digital album on Bandcamp at westofhouse.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. West of House Band is our name. Check us out there. Leave us a message. We will interact with you because we love you. And damn it, we just need some attention. But we'll be happy to chat with you. You can dig deeper into these episodes. We would love to talk to you. And you can find us on YouTube, find our videos on there. Just search West of House, and voila, we will appear. So, with that said, we thank you for joining us on Chasing After Memories. Gentlemen, do you have anything else to add?
No, just thank you guys for joining in.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good times.
Yes.
Right, Kevin?
Wow. The depth of Kevin.
At the end of all our episodes, I want to count the words that Kevin has said. If it's over 100, I will pay you each $20.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, those don't count.
Or an
All right.
Elijah.
Well, thank you,
Those are
folks.
words.
Have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Wow.
God damn it.
Edit that out. That's terrible.
All right, go ahead. I'll edit that out. Do that.
Got a lot of burps you're probably going to have to edit out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's because of that fruit beer.
Oh, it's so good.
Smurf beer.
It's puckery.
Smurf beer.